Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 21st day of January. Folks, I got a great show with you on for tonight. Got Ralph Williams from the Ralph Williams Show, the Sports Corner, out of the Pittsburgh area. Been wanting to talk to Ralph for about a week now when this story first broke that Mike Tomlin has stepped down as the head coach. Going to go over that with him. 30 minutes past the hour, Plus, hey, the Titans, they hired a new head coach here, Robert Saleh, give you the good and the bad and the ugly. Plus, hey, you haven't heard my take on the Monday's national championship game. Give you my take on that as well. Bills, as you heard Monday's recorded show, I thought, hey, listen, I thought they should have possibly moved on from McDermott. Didn't think they had the nerve to do so. They did do so. So I was okay with that. So stand by. We'll take our first only break. I got plenty of takes to have here and a short amount of time to do it. So stand by. We'll be back here momentarily and hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope.
Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
Alrighty then. Let's start off Monday night. Actually watched this thing in real time. Did not record it and wake up in the morning like I do sometimes. The national championship thoughts. This looked like, from an NFL perspective, a New England team back in 2014 playing the Seattle Seahawks, where the Patriots did not look as athletic and as fast as that Seahawks team. Same thing with Indiana, Miami, but they were just efficient. I mean, just precise execution. I mean, you saw Mendoza get hit, bloodied lip. He had the scraped up arm, pretty bloody arm there, and still Dillon underneath stuff. They played Miami speed against him with the screen passes, getting in around that very talented Ruben Bain, who looks like, man, that guy looks like a top 5 draft pick, in my opinion, here. So he's definitely helped his stop there, edge rusher out of Miami. But anyways, Mendoza was sped up in this game. That was the most sped up I've seen him. I've seen him in the Penn State game. I saw him in the Oregon game twice. I saw him in, of course, the Miami game. He did not look sped up. This is the most sped up he looked. Did not have that interception and whatnot. But it really reminded me of that particular Super Bowl with Seattle and New England going back about 12 years now. Okay? This felt like an NFL Super Bowl playoff type of game. I couldn't really tell the big difference between a game like this and, say, for example, the Rams and the Bears this past weekend, where it was a lot more strategy. They had the one big play there. I think it was Crutcher there that ran the ball back there for Miami, but it just wasn't that many big plays. Both teams very disciplined, making open field tackles there. A lot of strategy there. Taking a timeout. Kirk Cinitti on 4th and 5. By the way, I would have just kicked the field goal. You're up by 3 in the 4th quarter, and I think it's like, 4 or 5 minutes left. And he says, you know what? Timeout. They call the Mendoza quarterback sneak there. Call a quarterback rush there. And it goes in for a touchdown. Very John Elway helicopter look there, going back to 98, back in the, might have been 97, back in the Super Bowl there, to help him get that win there in his first Super Bowl win. Great game there. Like I said, the field goal puts them up 6, but it put them up 10. This is the most memorable one-year run I've ever seen. Going 16-0 like that. Are they the best team? Probably not. I would say that Hurricanes team's probably better, that 2001 Hurricane. But this is one of the better, more efficient teams here, beating you with their brains and not necessarily their bronze. They got some players on there. Mendoza is going to be the number 1 pick. He solidified that on Monday night. But as far as Miami is concerned, they definitely got their coach. They definitely got their culture there. I've liked Cristobal, liked him coming in this particular game. I picked him to win a few games in the playoff there. I thought they would have a chance against Ohio State. Picked them against A&M. And, listen, the sky is the limit for this team. And, of course, they'll be back in the mix next year. They found their coach, and they got their groove going. Okay. Cannot waste a lot of time because I got a guest coming in 30 minutes into the hour. Okay. Biggest story, I think, as of right now, a lot of people watch me out of Nashville. I'm out of the Nashville, Tennessee area. You all heard, a lot of you saw my post there on social media. The weekend goes by. The Tennessee Titans bring in Mike McCarthy. They let him leave. They don't sign him to a contract. There's supposed to be a connection there with him and Borgazzi, which is the general manager, through Green Bay, going back to both of their Green Bay days and whatnot. McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. McCarthy got Dallas their first road win in 30 years in the playoffs, and the Titans just let him walk out of the door, and they rushed to interview Robert Saleh a second time and hire him. Him being from a defensive background, Robert Saleh being from a defensive background, after saying publicly they wanted to get an offensive guy to build around Cam Ward. That didn't happen. They hired Saleh, who had a losing record with the Jets. Now, I guess that was overlooked due to injury and dysfunction at the quarterback and offensive coordinator situation there. Going back, Aaron, I'm talking about his record with the Jets there, losing record there with the Jets. You got a lot of Zach Wilson. You had an injured Aaron Rodgers situation there. You had Aaron Rodgers, this handpicked offensive coordinator that didn't work out there. A lot of dysfunction there between Saleh and the Jets. That being said, Saleh's defense, I looked the last year he was there when he got fired. They were third in total yards. Okay, that was pretty good. They were third. And look at the disaster. Practically the same players. They've added a few pieces. With Aaron Glenn, they didn't have a single sack or single interception this year. But they were third there with Saleh in 24 in total yards. So the Titans are looking to have Saleh coach guys like a Jeffrey Simmons build around him on that defensive side of the football. That's their school of thought. A lot of thought is, what are they going to do at the offensive coordinator? Of course, this is with me too. This is with my perspective as well. What are they going to do at that offensive coordinator position? A lot of talk. Maybe they'll get Mike McDaniel because of the 49ers connection. Well, McDaniel signs with the LA Chargers. That's out the window. I did screenshot some other candidates that possibly, according to this, about 6 sources here on Google AI here, saying that former Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady had some success there with Josh Allen, possibly there. Brian DeBall's actually been mentioned as well. That would be a good one. Mike Kafka, I'm not a fan of Mike Kafka. That's the interim head coach there with the Giants. Now, that's from that Google site, okay? Google AI. My opinion, Cliff Kingsbury had a problem with the general manager from the Washington Commanders, is why he left the Commanders and walked out of that situation with Jalen Daniels. It was not because of his production. We saw the production they had when Daniels was healthy, and they went to the NFC Championship game last year. he saw that. This is from Colin Cowherd through his sources in the NFL, that Cliff Kingsbury is not, he's looking for a head coaching job. He's not sought after as a head coach because he looks like a guy, he comes off as a guy as a head coach that cannot hold players accountable. If that's true, that's what he's saying. Now, mind you, Kingsbury's been fired as a head coach from Texas Tech and, of course, with the Arizona Cardinals. And now he's a free agent from the Commanders. I think Kingsbury, with working with the Cam Ward, I told you Cam Ward's skill set is very similar to Jaden Daniels with the Commanders. So their numbers are very similar coming out of college. I mentioned that. So if he can bring in a Cliff Kingsbury, this will go from an okay hire to a potential good hire, especially if he can keep a Kingsbury here for 3 or 4 years during the duration of Cam's Ward contract. Now, it's an offensive-driven league. Offensive coordinators seem to come and go every year in some cases. Look at guys like Canals and Cohen from Tampa, who left Baker Mayfield. And people ask, well, what do you think? What do you see for this particular hire? I think, as of right now, at best, because of Cam Ward's rookie contract, Tennessee's got $100 million in cap room. They've had 3 top 10 draft classes in a row, 2 top 5s counting this year, of course, draft classes. And they just come off 2 years ago where they had another $100 million, where they've added a lot of key free agents as well. I think that this could be a situation like another former Jets head coach that didn't work out. That's a defensive guy, a Todd Bowles per se, where Todd Bowles comes down and works with Baker Mayfield down in Tampa. They get to the playoffs twice and they win 2 playoff games in a row. Now they lost this particular year because they're on their 3rd offensive coordinator. So I do think this could potentially be at that level. Maybe if you get a better coordinator and keep him there, Kingsbury, 4 years, maybe he can jump to a higher level. But that's my guesstimate right there. You know, that this is going to be about like Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles, and whatever coordinator that Saleh can bring in there because of that. So then I would call it, like I said, a decent hire to potential good hire, depending on that coordinator. I told you who I would rather from that went offensive minded: John Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy, even what's the guy's name? Matt Nagy, who got to the playoffs. Remember, I want to say he got to the playoffs twice with Mitch Trubisky with the Chicago Bears. That's not easy. Even O'Brien the ball. Now, who got with Daniel Jones there. But we'll see how this thing plays out. It's still in the early stages. But as far as the over and under of how long Robert Saleh will last, I'll put that number at 5 years instead of 3 because of what I just mentioned, by the fact that he has they have all this cap money and they've had all these high draft picks going on 3 years in a row. Okay? All right. So next week, I hope to have possibly Tuesday. Listen, folks, we got a big snowstorm heading this way. I got a feeling I'm going to, after I do my driving on Friday night, I'm going to be snowed in for about a 4-day weekend, possibly maybe more, hopefully 3. Hopefully none. It'll miss because we don't get paid when these snowstorms coming in. But if that's true and I cannot work, maybe I'll do a Tuesday show with Rich Ferris from the Titans flagship Cumulus 104.5 The Zone. Maybe I can get him on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Right now, I got Rich scheduled in for Tuesday, Wednesday, excuse me. Hopefully, we'll have a coordinator. Me and him could talk about that particular situation and whatnot. Okay. But right now, he really had to have, him being a defensive guy, and the Titans wanting an offensive guy. Robert Saleh really, and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna build around, Cam Ward. Will talks cheap, actions speak louder than words. Let's see how that works out." All I'm saying is, this year may be an outlier. They may break that drought. Mike Macdonald looks like McDonald's probably going to get there, and it looks like that Mike Vrabel's going to get there. But since 2019, folks, no defensive-minded head coach has been in the Super Bowl. Yes, you heard that. Not won the Super Bowl, been in the Super Bowl since 2019. So hopefully that'll be broken this year, but the data is what it is, okay? That's why I wanted them to go from the offensive side of the ball. But we'll see. I mean, I'll watch Robert Saleh on Hard Knocks. He had some really good speeches there. I think he may have learned from his mistakes there in New York. But right now, this is just an okay hire. And it could be a bad hire if he hires a bad offensive coordinator, somebody that we have never heard of. Okay. All righty then. Next story. Oh, yeah. And listen, I told you, Sean McDermott, a defensive-minded head coach, they couldn't stop the run, had problems hovering around 20th in the run defense, blew games at New England when they were still trying to figure it out at home earlier in the season against New England. They lost to lowly Atlanta. They lost to lowly Miami, two coaches that also got fired, two head coaches as well. But if you win those games, that game is played in Buffalo and not Denver, and you're not losing another nail biter like that where you had 5 turnovers in that particular game. Even if you want to say that last one wasn't, you still had 4. The chances you winning that game is less than 20% when you start going, when you get in that 4 and 5 turnover range there. So McDermott being fired since the last time listen, you had the 13-second debacle in the Kansas City game. You've had the road losses. It's just one thing after another. I know they had one road win this particular year against Jacksonville, and I thought that was going to be enough to propel them to beat Denver, and they should have beat Denver. But kudos to the management there. There was a press conference today where the general manager, Brandon Beane, said that it wasn't his idea to draft Keon Coleman. Now there are clips about Keon Coleman, the receiver that looks to be troubled, has a slow start, potentially a bust with his maturity issues, has been a healthy scratch there. But there's been some stuff from his interview process that leaked out about him not knowing where to sign his name at and all this stuff. But also there's some draft day buzz about Beane wanting to bring in Keon Coleman. He said, Beane is saying that McDermott wanted Coleman. So he's trying to blast the bank. In other words, maybe part of the issue was Brandon Beane. I think so many players that's been drafted since Allen in 2018. I want to say they've only had 2 to make it to the Pro Bowl level since Allen was drafted. Now he's figured out a way to stay on. That being said, with the players they have, I know a lot of them are older players, cast off and misfits. You get a guy like a Bill Belichick to coach these guys up or sharpen that defense, they can change that attitude real quick. Look at Brian Flores. News broke today that Minnesota's defensive coordinator has a contract on the table if he does not get a head coaching job. Would you want to bring in a Brian Flores and possibly keep the same offensive coordinator, which is Joe Brady? That would be something I would look at, Flores would tighten that defense up. Look how good of a job he's done with that Minnesota Vikings team, okay? But apparently Minnesota has put the contract on the table and said, if you do not get a head coaching job, you're our guy going forward. Buffalo, I would like to get Belichick in the ball. I don't know if that's going to happen. If I'm the owner, I'm making it happen. I'm getting on the phone with Belichick's people, and I'm making a big time offer that he can't refuse money wise, and getting the ball in there. So meanwhile, the ball is interviewing Belichick's on game day. I saw him on there Monday night before the game talking Carolina football. He might not be interested, but if you have an aggressive approach and a vision to sell him, he would love to go to Buffalo, I think, to go up there and stick it to Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots, who are likely going to go to the Super Bowl here, Nick, at the end of this week. So Flores, Brian DeBall, who's going to possibly be a candidate, that's probably where I would go. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay. I'm surprised that Flores has not already gotten a job. But I believe that it is a good gig there, And listen, folks, I've got Ralph Williams coming up here in a few minutes, and this Steelers job, regardless, I know they need to cut some players. They got to get rid of everybody that's over 30, in my opinion, mainly those defensive players. And they need to get a quarterback, and they're in a rebuild situation. I'm sure Ralph would agree. That being said, and I'm going to ask Ralph about this. Bring this up with him, Ralph Williams from Sports Corner and whatnot. That this is it's the best job out there because they're the most patient organization. They're going to make it impossible for you to not be successful. And there he is right there. Man, that is great timing, man. Great timing there, Ralph Williams. Let me make sure and get my guy's intro right here before, because I've seen him pop up on the screen there. From the Sports Corner and the Ralph Williams Show out of the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah, how you doing there, Robert? I live in Berlin, Maryland now, so I just
You're in Maryland, okay.
Yeah, I moved down here in May of last year and enjoying every minute of it, but not this weekend, though. We're supposed to get 48 inches of snow, so we'll see what happens.
Really? 48 inches of snow?
Yeah, they're talking about big time snow here, so we'll see. We'll see what happens, So,
yeah.
How you doing, Robert? Long time no been on the show here, man. How you doing?
You know what? I've told the audience this, and I've had to cut the show down just temporarily, meaning next year or so, to 2 live shows, and I'm doing 1 recorded show on Monday mornings, kind of go over the weekend stuff. The rest of it's replays because I've had some financial issues and work side jobs and whatnot. Hopefully, I can get it back up going to 5 days a week. I'm hoping to get a situation like yourself where I can maybe sell one of these radio stations, buy some time, and do like you're doing, like sell the advertisements locally.
I'll email you my agent's phone number. I have a radio. Yeah. I'll email you his phone number. You and him can talk. He's a real good guy. He'll get you set up with something. So,
yeah, you know why? Because, Ralph, these guys here, they're public relation guys for the team. We need guys like you and me who just tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the stuff that people do not want to hear, but it's the truth, Ralph.
Absolutely. And you know what? I get criticized all the time. I get emails. People, they get frustrated because they don't like what I have to say. Yeah. And then when I tell the truth, they really get mad. And then when I call them out, about the truth, they get mad. And you know what? Nobody wants to hear the truth. Like Jack Nicholson said in A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
That's one of the most classic lines that you'll ever hear is "You can't handle the truth" by Jack Nicholson. That has to be. You know what I mean?
I really appreciate the fact that you have that approach, Yeah. And my first question to you is, and I don't know if you brought this up. I did listen to your first show last week. I was so excited to hear what you had to say because this was crazy. But do you think, Ralph, that the organization may have asked him to step down, and this is a story they're coming up with that he wanted to step down?
Well, here's I've got several sources. and
Okay.
every one of them has come up with something different. Okay,
Yeah.
there are different different things going on out there depending on who you get it from. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear that they did force him out. Here's the story that I got from one of my sources, who said, and I quote, that there was a meeting with Art II, the owner, Art Rooney II, and Mike Tomlin. He told Mike Tomlin that if you don't win this Texans game, we're not going to do we're not going to. And then also, they were looking at he finished out the last year of his contract, get his 20 years, and then Art II said, then we're not going to pick up your option year, because he had 1 year and an option. Okay, Robert, he had 1 year and an option. Now, they said, we're not going to pick up the option year. We want you to stay, get your 20. You can leave right after next year. Well, supposedly, he said, if we lose to the Texans, Mike Tomlin told Art II, then I'm leaving. I'm going to step down. I want to spend more time with my family. His family has been getting harassed. His wife owns has a clothing store, and she also has a website. She sells expensive clothing under the name Kia Tomlin. That's his wife's name. I think it's Kia Tees or something like that. I'm not sure what the clothing line name is. And she has a retail store in Pittsburgh. And her store has been somebody threw a brick through her window. His kids have been harassed. Yeah. His daughter has been harassed, and she goes to school somewhere or at Georgia. She goes to school at the university.
I saw that the other day. Yeah.
Right. And she was, hey, wait a minute. You went to the boys, you went to all their events, but you don't show up at mine. And when COVID was going on, he promised her he'd be at one of her events, and they changed the game. The one time they changed the game to Wednesday night because of COVID. You know what I mean? And I call it COVID. You know?
It was so annoying. God, I hated that.
Oh,
the traffic was great. Only other than that, it was a disaster.
Yeah, but anyhow, that's another thing that happened.
Yeah,
the media was getting on him. I mean, Brooke Pryor from ESPN, she would eat him alive every press conference. In fact, when we played the Ravens and we beat the Ravens, Brooke Pryor, the first word came out of her mouth is, "What is the future of you with the team?" And he didn't even comment. So, you know, and not only that, there was also fans yelling, "Fire Tomlin," every time we lost at the Acrisure Stadium. Just a lot of things, Robert, that compounded this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then his failure to win a playoff game since 2016. Yeah. I mean, you know, I called him Mediocre Mike. And I called him, and then I even reached out to two bands that I know to make a song. If they were to go 9-8, called 9-8 Mike. We were going to do a song called 9-8 Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know, and then now the biggest question here is all these players that we have on this football team, and a lot of them are overpaid. Yeah. Okay. TJ Watt's overpaid. TJ Watt's overpaid. Yeah. All right. I said this at the beginning of the year. Let TJ Watt write out his contract. Show me something. I'm a show me kind of guy. If I'm gonna give you a contract of $40 million a year, show me something, TJ. Okay, yeah. Show me, and then I'll give you the money. No, they went ahead. They gave him the money. They gave Cam Hayward the last 5 or 6 games of the year this year. He deserved his money. Okay,
played great football, didn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he played some great football, Robert. You cannot deny that. All right.
Yeah, he was good inside. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I have no issues with that, and his efforts in the community are there. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and he's won the Walter Payton Award a few times. So Cam Hayward deserves his money. All right. Yeah. Then you got Patrick Queen, who's sort of he's been 50-50. He's overpaid. Alex Highsmith, and I say this word, you can't help the club if you're in the tub. And Highsmith was in the
I've heard you say that on your show. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, there are things, Robert, that compounded this whole thing. And he's got a bunch of guys now on this football team that all said, well, we want to come and play for Mike Tomlin. And Darius Slay let him down. I mean, you know, they had to cut him. Well, he didn't do anything.
He pushed management to sign these guys. Is that what you're
exactly? Saying? Yeah, he pushed management to sign these guys because they all wanted him. They all wanted to play for Mike Tomlin. Who wants to play for me? You know, They don't want to
They're
play
all
for Nick.
washed up too. I love Slay, but he's way past his prime. Jeez.
Right. But my friend and co-host on my Sports Corner radio show with me, Claudio Rosano, and I'm about to be on the show with him at 9:00, or as soon as we're done here.
Yeah.
The Steel City Sports World show on Wednesdays. He said the players let him down in the game against the Texans. I mean, you had all these veteran players, and you can't win a playoff game. I mean,
right.
And then you got. And and I'm sorry about this. I know Arthur Smith is well known in Tennessee with the Titans. Arthur Smith is just a horrible offensive coordinator. I can't stand
him. He's way overrated. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, way overrated. I don't know what it is about Arthur Smith. He's getting all these head coaching job interviews.
Be a good interview, Raph. I don't know either.
I don't know. But I heard he's interviewing. He was interviewing with the LA Chargers, and now I hear Mike McDaniel might be getting that job. I heard, for OC. Jeff Hafley just got hired down in Miami as the head coach. Yeah. Pittsburgher, coached under Dave Wannstedt at Pitt, head coach at Boston College. Very good coach, very young guy. Interviewed with the Steelers before Miami hired him. I wouldn't doubt it if he pulls Arthur Smith in. Who
would you want them to hire? I mean, do you have a list of guys in your head there, Ralph?
The Steelers, I want Brian Flores, or I want Mike McCarthy. Now, Smoking Jim Frazier, my co-host, who's been a scout for over 40 years. Okay, used to work for the Steelers as a scout. Mike Tomlin fired him, believe it or not. All right. Smoking Jim said, "Why not bring in Mike McCarthy for about 4 or 5 years?
Yeah,
let him coach the team, and then he goes out and hires some young guy like that guy from the Rams that we're interviewing, the pass game coordinator, Yeah. Bring him in as an offensive coordinator or an assistant head coach, or bring some young coach in like a Chris Shula or somebody in as a assistant head coach and groom them to take over for McCarthy. Bring him in as a bridge coach. Okay.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah. And McCarthy's a Pittsburgher. He knows what the Steelers are looking for. And then we could get one more year, Robert, out of Aaron Rodgers. Okay. And then bring in next year, the draft's going to have better quarterbacks, and we might have a shot at a better quarterback because the guys that I think we wanted are staying with their universities now because of NIL. I like Carson Beck. I think he would be a good pick for the Steelers from Miami. Mendoza's not even going to be even close to being there for the Steelers.
Right.
So who do you have there? Moore, the one from Oregon. He's staying in Oregon, Yeah. So there's not really a whole lot in this class. But 27 is supposed to be a better class. And you got Arch Manning maybe coming out. So
I guarantee he's going to come out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would rather them hire McCarthy, let him be a bridge coach, or bring him in the front office and have him work in the front office. All right.
It's Marks in Pittsburgh, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because their front office, Robert, I'm telling you right now, if they lose Andy Weidel. Andy Weidel's interviewing, and possibly I'm hearing he might get hired in Atlanta. If Andy Weidel gets hired in Atlanta, our assistant GM, Omar Khan, the current GM, and Art II are going to be totally lost. They have no idea how to run this team. Art II has no idea. He had his dad to look for when his dad was alive, Dan Rooney. He's lost minority ownership because of this Mike Tomlin situation. When Mike Tomlin was the coach, the minority ownership, he lost 4 minority owners because they wanted Mike Tomlin out and couldn't get him out of there. Because Art's got the power. I hear Bill Cowher could possibly be a potential investor, but he's not going to do it if Tomlin's there. There's a lot of guys that want to. Why do you think Jimmy Haslam got out and went to Cleveland and decided to buy the Browns?
That was all with Tomlin?
Yeah, it's all over Tomlin because Art II holds the majority stake owner in the team, but the minority owners wanted him out, and he refused to fire him or get rid of him. So now this was the straw. The loss to the Texans was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say.
Wow. John Harbaugh gets fired also. And
yeah, I was surprised at that. I know. And Buffalo,
they got a little stale there, Ralph, a little bit with
Yeah.
all the blown leads and stuff.
yeah,
18 years of right, and Tomlin was 19, right? Because he was
Right.
going to be 20
Yes.
next year.
right.
Let me ask your opinion on this. Bill Walsh, former 49er coach, of course, he
Right.
said 10 years. You just mentioned a lot of stuff that really coincides with what I'm about to say here.
Right.
Bill Walsh is like, okay, general managers, players, other coaches, they start to tune you out after 10 years. That's when you need to get out. I'm saying, okay, maybe that's a round number, but I
Right.
think every coach should evaluate himself in his situation after 10 years. Look at how many coaches are not in the league after 10 years. I mean, who else is a veteran
Yeah.
coach now? Andy Reid?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Andy Reid. And then you have McDermott getting fired in Buffalo. I never saw
Butler
it.
got fired. Yeah.
I didn't see
He
that.
can't stop the run, Ralph.
And you know what? Steelers should take a look at him. I mean, I'm sorry, but and there's a lot of people, including myself, and I even kind of made this comment. He's another Mike Tomlin. He can't win the playoff game, and he chokes when John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh. Every time he played the Steelers, and I said this, and it happened every time. He always tries to outsmart himself.
Yeah, he did. He said that last time. Yeah.
The last two times he went for it on fourth down. Who goes for it on fourth down on a 30-yard line? On your own 30-yard line.
Maybe Dan Campbell, that's it.
Who does that? Okay.
Dan Campbell,
Other than Dan Campbell or a few other guys. Who does that? You know what I mean? And he would every time he'd make some boneheaded decision, and then Luke missing that field goal really kicked him in the head. So, I heard John Harbaugh's message was getting stale. I heard a lot of people, players were, Lamar Jackson threw him under the bus. I mean,
he never said anything. He never said a condolences to him or anything.
Not at all. And Todd Monken, if I'm John Harbaugh right now, I'd hire Todd Monken and take him to the Giants with him. Todd Monken.
That's what I read he's supposed to do. He's not going to take that defensive guy, which I don't mind. That defensive guy was dropping the rock.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that guy that had that defense, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. Or yeah. He was young. He was a young guy coming through the system, and he just moved him up, And when I'll tell you who else is out there right now. Might sound weird. Greg Roman. Roman's out there. He got fired by the Chargers. Yeah. So, if I'm the Steelers coach, whoever it is, you got a lot of guys out there with an offensive mind. Bring in. Even if Brian Flores gets the job, Chris Shula, whoever gets the job, talk to Mike McCarthy. Say, hey, look, I'll bring you in. I'd like you to come in as an assistant head coach and an offensive coordinator. Okay, that way you have. I always say this, Robert, and I think you'll agree with me. If you're a new coach like this, you got to bring in good coordinators, good coaches to back you up. Somebody with a mind, somebody that's been in football.
That's what I was talking about with the Salif here in Nashville. Everybody's asking me around town, Ralph. Who's the offense? I said, you got me. I don't know, but I know maybe get a name.
hey, he could hire Arthur Smith. He can hire Arthur Smith and bring him back to Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And we wanted McCarthy. I didn't want McCarthy to leave Nashville on Saturday, Ralph, but he did.
Yeah. He interviewed today with the Steelers. So I don't know what but the story I'm hearing is they might need Mike McCarthy now if Andy Weidel gets hired down in Atlanta. He's our assistant general manager. He came from Philly. He's the one that put that Philly roster together. The Jalen Hurts, the whatever that kid's name is, the defensive back, the big one there. I can't remember his name. Is in the
tackle? You mean Jalen Carter?
No. The other one, Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name.
Mitchell, both of them are really good.
Yeah, and he was responsible for that, and he's been with the Steelers for a couple of years now, and I think that he put most of that roster together, and he's a good scout and good at what he does. Omar Khan, our general manager for the Steelers, is a numbers cruncher. He's there for salary cap purposes. That's all he's ever done. He's never really been a scout. He's never really been anything. And they gave him that title because there were other teams looking to hire him to be a GM. So they gave him that title. And Mike Tomlin, he called a lot of shots this season. That's another thing too. They had a lot of bad drafts with Mike Tomlin. A lot of bad drafts.
And you're saying he pushed to draft these guys.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Tomlin was the one. So now that Mike Tomlin's not there, Omar Khan's got to run this ship now. And I don't know if he can do it. I really don't believe so. You know, so we're going to find out who they hire as their head coach. And, you know, there's some names there I'm not familiar with, like Anthony Weaver. I have no clue what he's done.
Down in Miami, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, you know, and
that
again,
don't excite me if I'm a Pitt Steelers.
Again, he could be a good interview. I mean, you know, there were a lot of guys. Russ Grimm, he could have had that Steeler job if he didn't show up for the interview in cowboy boots, blue jeans, and a sport jacket.
Oh my God!
He didn't have a tie. He wasn't. He had a T-shirt on. Showed up in sport jacket. And one of the reporters who covers the Steelers, he's been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, "Well, that's Russ Grimm's style." But that doesn't mean anything. You're showing up for a key job as a head coach. You make sure you dress in a suit and a tie. Mike Tomlin, he got accolades from Tony Dungy, from John Gruden, and all these. He coached under them. Okay, that's what pushed him in. I wanted Ken Wisenhunt because Wisenhunt interviewed for that job.
I remember at the time. Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't want Tom.
Turned out to be better than Wisenhunt. We took him, and he was awful as a head coach.
Yeah, Wisenhunt, for some strange reason, after he left Arizona or whatever, or got fired or whatever, he didn't do good. He was with the Chargers for a little while. He stunk, and then he stunk up in Tennessee. You know, so
at the time. So you know something, you gotta. It would be ironic if they take a guy that's a coordinator at Minnesota, because remember Tomlin, I will say he was a coordinator at Minnesota, right, for like 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah, he worked under Dungy up there.
Yeah,
Dungy was with Minnesota. I think he worked under that what was that coach's name up there? He was an offensive guru, had glasses, kind of a bald head.
Yeah,
I can't remember his damn name. Who it is?
Was he a former offensive lineman?
Yeah, he was a former offensive.
I remember that guy. Yeah.
That guy was the one he worked under as well. And I know he worked under Dungy for a little while. And, you know, he worked under John Gruden down in Tampa. And, you know, so he worked under the late Bill Stewart from West Virginia when he was at William and Mary. Him and McDermott worked on the same staff at William and Mary.
It's
so, I mean,
circle, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but there's a lot of factors involved here, Robert, that a lot of people are not telling everybody. And I just gave you
general manager. That's huge. I didn't realize that, Ralph.
I just gave you everything. I just pulled out everything out of my recipe book, and gave you everything that I've been told by my sources and that I'm aware of as to what's going on with the Steeler organization that is not even out there. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that's not out there, and you know,
you see this organization.
And one other thing, there was a group of people that went in front of Mike Tomlin's house and protested and wouldn't let him get his car out of the driveway. They had to call Pittsburgh police. I can't. That happened too. So I mean, you know, when you got people doing stuff like that to you, you know it. You know, and I've said this. You ever see the movie Caddyshack? Remember how Ted Knight says to Rodney Dangerfield, "You've worn out your welcome at Bushwood, sir."
I've been years since I've seen that. Yeah,
Mike Tomlin kind of wore out his welcome in Pittsburgh. I believe that to be the case.
Yeah. They needed change, and it was good.
I'm sorry they do, and it's time to get rid of some of these older guys. I say trade T.J. Watt. I don't like his attitude. You know, and
everybody in their 30s. I think.
I mean, you know.
Don't you think so? Just move off everybody in their 30s and, of course, the 40s. Just
blow it up and bring in some young, fast talent. I mean, you know, Danny Smith, the special teams coordinator, he just got hired in where did he get hired at just recently? Oh, he got hired by somebody. Tampa to be special teams coordinator. Okay, Tampa Bay. We had bad kick return coverage. Teams were starting at the 40, 45-yard line. I mean, come on, Robert. I mean, you know.
He's field goal range.
Yeah.
Practically.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, and so I'm glad he's gone. You know, he was the longest tenured coach under Tomlin anyway. You know, it was time for a change for him, too.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that whoever the new coach is brings in some guys that got, and I'm going to use one of Tomlin's things, guys, because he used to say guys, you know, and brings in with some football knowledge. When you're a new coach, you got to bring guys in. Like, let's say if you're a college coach,
yeah,
and you don't know how to recruit, you got to bring in assistants that know how to recruit. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you might be a good recruiter, but you're not a good head coach.
Good X and O guy.
You got to bring an X and O guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've always thought that too. You got to mix it up. And if you got a young guy, he's
Right.
got to surround himself with older coaches.
Yeah,
Kind
exactly.
of like the guy down in Notre Dame. I forgot his name. That
Marcus
young guy.
Freeman. Marcus Freeman.
Yeah. Remember, he brought in Al Golden to do his defense.
Al
So,
Golden. Yeah,
yeah.
Very good coach. Yes. Al Golden.
Freeman would be good for Pittsburgh. Is Pittsburgh still the most stable job in all of sports? That's my opinion. It's like the bumper guards. They're not going to fire you. They're going to give you everything you can have to be successful. Or do you think that narrative may change with this new hire?
If I'm the Steelers, this is what I would do. If you hire somebody that young, okay, you tank for 2 seasons. Maybe you go 7-10, or you go whatever, 6-11, whatever it is. Get some good draft picks. How do you think they got Ben Roethlisberger? Because they were drafted number 10. They were 6-10 that year, and they went and got Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, go get a franchise quarterback. So what if you have a sucky record? Couple of years, Steeler fans are gonna have to eat it. Okay, all right, and go and get some good players in the draft. Get some higher type players, because you're always drafting 21, 29, whatever it is you're drafting every year, and you don't trade to move up. The last time they traded to move up to get somebody was Devin the Bum Bush, who stunk. And they traded up to get him. The last good one
sold on him out of Michigan, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah, the last good trade up they did, Robert, was Troy Polamalu. They traded up to get him,
USC,
right, exactly. So a Hall of Famer. So what? Tank for a couple of years. There's no shame in that.
Right.
And get some good draft picks and get them in there. Get some free agents that want to come in and play. Get some guys who are like in their 20s. They're free agents, maybe done with 1 year of their one contract, because you got to have that 5-year rookie, 4-year rookie contract and an option. All right. Bring in some of those kind of guys with some fast speed, guys with intensity, guys that want to play, guys that are hungry. All right. Don't bring in these old grizzled veterans that are looking to make business decisions instead of making tackles. You know what I mean?
Yes, Ralph. Is it still the best? Okay, you got a lot of jobs.
It is the best. It is the best. It is the best job. I think it is.
I think so too, Ralph. You're still saying it's the best job. I totally agree with that, man.
And Art Rooney II, Robert too, is talking about in the next year or so, and it might happen after this season. He's talking about stepping down and letting his brothers and his kids run the team. So, I mean, if that happens, you don't know what they want to do. You know what I mean? They might want to go in a different direction. So just like in Indianapolis, everybody thought Shane Steichen was going to get fired because Irsay's kids now are cousins.
Charlie Irsay Gordon, or whatever her name is.
Right.
She's a little crazy.
She's Yeah. So, hey, you want to see a woman, and I have nothing against a woman running a franchise. You want to see a woman running a franchise? Watch the movie Any Given Sunday.
I haven't seen that in a while. I've been watching.
Oh, yeah.
I've been snowed in over the weekend. Caddyshack and Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday
in 20 years.
That's it. That's it. There's a lot of people that don't understand, point shaving, in college basketball. They recently just had a bunch of players that just got busted, with point shaving and all that stuff. Watch the movie Blue Chips with Nick Nolte.
Oh, I've seen it 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Watch another movie, point shaving in high school. Even Money. Kim Basinger, the late Ray Liotta, Danny DeVito, and Kelsey Grammer. You can't get a better cast than that in that movie.
Kelsey Grammer.
See, that's like the movie Traffic, Robert, where it circulates around the way drugs are moved around, in traffic. Okay. Yeah. Even Money is how gambling's moved around. You got one that's playing slot machines and losing her shirt. You got another one who's a magician who is gambling all the time, and he's losing his shirt. And then you got another guy that's gambling, betting on sports and all that, and you got somebody else doing something else. So it moves. It shows you the different types of gambling in the circles that it goes. Okay, and one of them is high school sports, and Forrest Whitaker's in that. His brother is a high school basketball player who's shaving points. Okay, shaving points. So, those are movies that people need to watch if they want to understand what point shaving is all about. You know what I mean? Well, we can get back to the Steelers. The Steelers, I think, Robert, and the answer to your question is I think it's the best job right now in the NFL. Okay, Cleveland, that's a dumpster fire. I'm sorry. The Tennessee Titans is kind of a dumpster fire.
Well, we don't know. We kind of want our owner. You talk about crazy lady owners. We want her to sell the team there, Ralph. When we get our new stadium built.
Just watch Cameron Diaz in any given Sunday.
Cameron, that's what I was thinking.
Nothing against women owning a team. I don't. But I mean, that right there.
A little crazy. Look at Jenny Buss. Did you see what Jenny Buss said about LeBron? She's trashing him today. Yeah. She changes her mind, whoever the last person she talks to, Ralph. The best thing that happened to the Lakers is they sold to the people that own the Dodgers, Ralph.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what we're hoping and praying for.
We haven't done this for a while. We need to do this more often.
Fun, Andy. You like the energy, don't you? I didn't even have to ask you the questions. You read my mind. I had everything that you said I was going to ask. Did you think he was supposed to leave? Yes. You think it got stale? Yes. The people you recommended is who I thought. I think go out the ball or somebody too.
I think Atlanta hired Kevin Stefanski. I think Stefanski's going to get a second opportunity to really be a good head coach. He didn't get his chance in Cleveland because that's a dumpster fire, as we just talked about.
Yes.
And the Ravens, that job might not be a bad job either, but that's a rebuilding job. I mean, because you don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to want to play for you.
Contract huge. Captains are big. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Arizona Cardinals. I mean, I said they shouldn't have hired Jonathan Gannon. That guy, he
didn't have a good defense in the Super Bowl. He couldn't get a punch. He couldn't get a stop in the second half.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the word is that owner's hard to get along with. Bidwell.
Oh yeah.
He's got a real smart mouth on him, and he's kind of grumpy all the time.
Steve Wilkes, Bill Cowher endorsed Steve Wilkes when he was the coach down there, and then he was the interim coach at Carolina. Wilkes should be a head coach. I mean, he's not a sometimes it all depends on where you are. It depends on the organization, front office. You know what I mean?
Tampa, he's got some playoff wins.
As long as Arians has a say in anything down there, Todd Bowles always have a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I wish Arians was younger. I'd love to have him here, or maybe have him with your Steelers if he was younger.
Yeah. Hey, I heard. I'm seeing stories now that Belichick might be coming there or something like that. I'm hearing that story too.
For here in Tennessee,
I'm hearing Bill Belichick for several jobs.
Well, I said Buffalo. Him and Brian DeBall, you said with Mike McCarthy. Let him go additionally set up in Buffalo, win a Super Bowl, and then pass the torch to Brian DeBall to take over for Buffalo. It's food for thought. He seems to be happy down there in Carolina. But if I'm Buffalo's ownership, I'm calling Belichick because he'll fix their run defense.
I give him a blank check. I give him a blank check.
Yeah. I still think he's got it,
Yeah. I mean, you see, Belichick is not a good coach in college because when you're in college, you got to have a personality. You got to have a rah personality. Yeah, let's do it. You can't go to a college player and say, just do your job. You know what I mean? And have a scale personality. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and that's, exactly. There's a lot of jobs. I haven't seen this many jobs open in the NFL in a while in head coaching. It seems like everybody just it's like a domino effect, Robert.
We have plenty of content, won't we?
Yeah, exactly. It makes for good conversation right now because the NFL season's just about over. College is done. I mean, Indiana just I told everybody Indiana was going to win, and Oh
Yeah.
no, Miami's hot, man. They're gonna,
Did you pick them to start the playoff? I picked them to start the playoff, Ralph.
Yeah, I did too. I picked Indiana. I didn't expect Miami there because there was a few crystal ball specials I saw this year and at the regular season, and I said, "Oh no!" I said Miami, and then I bet against them. Well, for fun, I don't bet on sport, but for fun, I told somebody in a poll that we had. I'm with the Sports Nuts Network, and we have a little poll that we do. Yeah. And I picked LSU. I said, I don't trust Miami, Cristobal, and all that.
Yeah.
And, they ended up beating them and some other people. And some of these teams in college, Robert, dropped out of bowl games, didn't want to participate in the championship series.
Right.
And whatnot. And it's just, one thing after another, so.
But I did like that playoff. I think that college.
I think that was a good game. That was one of a better games.
I think it's better than the NFL. I mean, as far as this year's playoff, this year's kind of work. No Joe Burrow. Have no
right.
Allen, no Mahomes.
Yeah,
too many injuries this year, Ralph.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who goes to the Super Bowl this year. Yeah. I think it's going to be. I think it's looking right now like it could be Seattle and New England right now.
That's what I'm thinking. I would like to see the Rams in it, but because I like the quarterback play, but Seattle looks like they've got more rest. They seem a little healthier.
See, Stratford, Matthew Stafford can make mistakes if you rattle his cage. Okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't think their offensive line is that good enough. If they can keep him from getting sacked and the offensive line can play a clean game with the Rams, yeah. I believe they could probably win that game. But you know what? It's going to be a dogfight because both of these teams, Robert, during the season, each game was in overtime. They split it. The Rams won one, and Seattle won one, but they were both in overtime. Both
airtight games, and the Rams blew that last game.
Right.
It just feels like the Rams played overtime last week. It's a shorter week.
Right.
Two very close games. Are they going to be out of gas physically, Ralph? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to see them win. I'd like to see Rams.
Yeah.
And part of me would like to see the Patriots just to stick it back to our owner and let Vrabel win because she didn't want to do a trade with the ownership or she didn't want to do a trade with the Patriots because she has at the trade deadline, but she has an issue with Mike Vrabel. How childish is that, Ralph?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is childish. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Mike
Vrabel has done a great job up in New England, but here's the good news about that. He brought in Josh McDaniel.
Yes.
And when Josh McDaniel's a head coach, I call him McDummo because he stinks as a head coach. Terrible.
He's not head coaching material, is he?
No, not at all. Neither is Raheem Morris. But Raheem Morris is a good defensive coordinator. If I'm Brian Flores, if I'm the coach of the Steelers, bring in Raheem Morris as your defensive coordinator, bring in Jonathan Gannon, bring in somebody that's got one of these.
Morris over Gannon, geez.
Yeah, or bring in somebody that's been in the NFL that knows what's going on.
I was just saying, Ralph, the Titans should bring in Cliff Kingsbury because there's word around the NFL that he's not head coaching material.
No, he's not. No.
Yeah.
He wasn't even that good in Texas Tech, Robert. He was what? 6-6?
Yeah.
He coached 2 seasons in Texas Tech. He was 6-6.
They said he don't like to hold players accountable. He doesn't like confrontation.
He was like Steve Mariucci in California. I mean, they were what 6-5 every year. I mean, he wasn't all that great of a coach there.
No. He's a good schemer guy. He's a good, So Ralph Williams, hey, once your shows come on, man, I'll plug them up real quick.
I got a bunch of them now, and I'm about to go two more shows here. I got every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. the Ralph Williams Show on 1250 a.m. The Answer 92.5 on the FM dial in Western Pennsylvania, and then at 2 to 3 p.m. the Sports Corner Radio Show on Saturday. That is with myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, and then on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the Ralph Williams Show again. And my special guest every Sunday is Tony Moreno, former Republican mayor of the city of Pittsburgh and ran for mayor. He's on with me. And starting probably at the beginning of February, Sunday, 5 o'clock p.m., Sports Corner Radio Show. Once again, it'll be on AM 620 in Pittsburgh, WKHB.
Wow. Hey,
And
congratulations, man! You're working hard.
I am. And then also 8 a.m. Sunday morning, WKHB 6:20 a.m. starting in February, the Ralph Williams Show. And then on Wednesdays, 3 to 4 p.m. Next Wednesday, I'm live call-in show. We're live on Facebook. The Ralph Williams Show every Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m. in the city of brotherly love.
In Philly?
Philadelphia. So 8:60 a.m. WWDB. So
Okay, I'm gonna listen to
radio
that.
stations all across the country, and I'm also on the Sports Nuts Network, and we broadcast 12 different radio stations across the country, including the Hawaii Sports Network. So we're on in Hawaii, and my voice is now starting to get everywhere now. So
Man, I'm trying to get on that train, brother.
yeah, well, I mean, I'll give you a few numbers. You can talk to the guy with the Sports Nuts. Maybe we can all work together, in the Sports Nuts, and I'll give you his number. You can talk to him. His name's Brandon Keeler, very good guy. Was just on the air. He had a show on tonight, and he does a show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He has some good connections, and he's a good guy. And my stuff is on his channel, and maybe we can all work together here, and that's what it's about, helping each other grow.
I do, I definitely, man.
And I'll give you my radio agent's number too, Robert, and you can talk to him.
Yeah, that's what I want, man. You know, if either that or try that here.
He can probably set you up in Tennessee there with somebody with a station that might have.
That's what I want.
Low brokered airtime, which then means you go out and get some sponsors and see, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
I'll go call sponsors.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Like Ron's Pizza or something like that, or Lisa's Flowers or something, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, Yeah.
So. There's a very good pizza place. Roma Pizza is really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you go into a business, like down here, I live in Berlin, Maryland, which is just across the bridge from Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay.
And I've got a ton of sponsors now in Ocean City here. They're chomping at the bit to come on my network, and I've got a whole bunch now from Ocean City. I got more from Ocean City than I ever did in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I mean, nice. Because I was, I don't know what it is, but it seems like people in Western Pennsylvania, I've always been said that I'm, and that was one of the reasons I moved down here too. Was I was Pittsburgh's redheaded stepchild in the media. Which is true, because
like you said, people can't handle the truth, man.
I'm on weekends. I can't get a weekday slot in Pittsburgh. So my radio agent, he got me in Philly, the city of brotherly love. They're giving me
all that information, especially those times there, Ralph. And I want to listen to you in Philly. I've got iHeart. I'd love to hear that. I'm
on every Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m. there while you're doing your
Eastern time, right?
Yeah, exactly. 3 to 4 p.m. WWDB 8:60 a.m. And I even play music too. I'm on Highway Radio Hits every Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m. 1 to 3 as DJ Fun, and I play music.
Man, you sound like John Candy in Home Alone. Home Alone. Remember that scene with John Candy's in Home Alone? They're playing the music, and
well, you know what, Robert? I've always been taught this. I drove a cab for 15 years. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So you know what?
Yeah,
I'm squeaking my wheel. The grease is coming. Sooner or later, I'm going to make a lot of money at this. It's coming. I know it is. It's breaking free. So I mean,
and that's what I'm doing. I do Uber on the side too. I do medical care and do Uber.
I used to do Lyft. I used to do Lyft on the side. I haven't done it anymore for a while. I'm handicapped in a wheelchair. Yeah. It's very difficult for me to get out and have to
like that.
Yeah, exactly. I have to go to the restroom. And there were some places where they used to have handicap porta potties that I used to use. And there was at several places. Now nobody has them anymore. And then I have to physically get out and then I can't get my wheelchair out of the trunk, you know what I mean, or whatever, that kind of, so it's very difficult for me to to do that. So I had to quit doing it. There were like I said, a lot of places that just didn't have bathrooms for me to go.
Sound like you're busy enough though as it is.
Well, now, but I mean, I did Lyft before COVID, and then I did it after COVID. And someone said I should have did it during COVID because he told me he made more money than he ever did, and he retired for 5 years.
I did pretty well. I did Uber on New Year's Eve, man. Did really well that night. Now, I did because I saved up because we're going to be snowed in here for a few days. I'm not going to be getting out next week. I'll tell you that. Probably for 2 days, I'd be, snowed in.
What I liked about Lyft was I could get in my car, leave my house, punch my phone up, get in there and go. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go to a garage, go get a cab. I didn't have to kiss.
My dad used to drive a cab.
And rideshare has kicked cabs in the butt because a lot of cab companies are independent contractors. We got to buy a medallion or something. And, a lot of people now are using ride shares and, they're better service, some nicer people. No offense to anyone. But a lot of the cab drivers now don't speak English.
They don't, and you got to still speak English, Yeah,
and they rip you off. I mean,
they do that here.
Yeah, they rip you off. So, that makes it bad for all cab drivers. So
Fortunately, there. Ralph Williams, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna cut you some sound bites here, and I'll send them to you, and I'll clip one day on Facebook. And thank you again for sharing my show, Ralph. I want to tell you.
Anytime, Robert, I will do so again, and I'll be in touch with you later on this evening with that information. So
thanks, buddy. God bless. Ralph Williams. All right, everybody. I'll be back here tomorrow with the Man New Yorker. Break down those games. I'm leaning Seattle, and obviously I'm leaning New England, but I think that's going to be a good game there in Denver. So I'll be back here tomorrow, Man New Yorker. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you same time, same place here on The Real Sports.